in the Meiji era to separate Shinto and Buddhism very strictly. Like, we don't fuck with that no more. Like, we got to purify this shit from the temples. We can't have these Buddhist iconography and the Shinto shit. Like, we got to create these hard line separations. But for a long period of time, it was kind of mixed and kind of playing off each other. So if you see, like, for instance, if you see a manga, right, and it has like that paper that's in like almost like a Tetris block, like the Tetris L's, but to the side. It's kind of like that, like a zigzag paper, white kind of squares. That's Shinto, right? That is like a Shinto emblem, or this kind of like it's a Shinto thing. It's like you're looking at. It's not the same, but it's like the cross in Christianity. Like, oh, that's a Christian symbol or a Christian thing that they use. So if you see that like in the manga, that's referencing something like Shinto or Shinto tradition. But not to say that you wouldn't see that in a Buddhist capacity too, or that it might have even been a collaboration between the two. But like I'll show you Shinto paper. It's called the shide. I think that's what they call it, the shide. Like this. Did you ever see that? That's Shinto. And it is zigzag paper streamer, often attached to a what does it say? Often attached to a shiminawa or tamaguchi, and used in Shinto rituals. A popular ritual uses haraguchi or lightning wand made of zigzag shide paper that adorns the wand. A similar wand used by Miko for purification and blessing is the gohei, and with two shide. Shinto priest waves the haraguchi over a person, item, or newly brought property such as a building or a car. The wand is waved at a slow rhythmic pace, but with a little force, so that the shide strips make a rustling noise on each pass of the wand. For new properties, a similar ritual known as jijinsai, right, is performed with a haraguchi, an enclosed part of the land enclosed by shiminawa and saki. So I think it's like a purification or a blessing ritual. But if you ever see that and didn't know what the fuck that was, that is like a Shinto thing. You'll see like sumo wrestlers, like they'll wear it. Let's see. Sumo washi. See, you'll see sumo wearing it. Like that's that belt's called a mawashi, it's a keisho mawashi, and you see the shide. So that's why it's like sumo is very much so. I don't call it propaganda for Shinto, but it has that kind of effect. Kind of how like reggae music is like. That's the perfect example. Like reggae music is the cultural ambassador for Rastafarianism. And like Shin Yun, right? You ever see Shin Yun? People, the Shin Yun billboards, they got 30 shows at your local amphitheater or whatever. Shin Yun is the cultural ambassador, the cultural extension of Falun Dafa or Falun Gong, which is that it's like a cult basically. It's basically a cult. Mawashi. So anyway, anything else? No, I think we covered a lot. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's see. Fashion Nova equals increased sexual assault. Nope, didn't say that. Fashion Nova is not even that it increases because it's already been around. Fashion Nova is just an example of the promotion of over sexualization. Now, everything that they make isn't over sexualized, but there are some shits that they do make, and in the way that is presented, that definitely has a sexualized aspect to it, and that is part of the process of it. Fashion is definitely sexual. A lot of sex is clothes. As much as we want to say that sex is just the naked body, I mean, yeah, but there's a whole industry of makeup and fashion and clothing and things to accentuate certain features of the body, the male and the female body. High heels that push up the leg to accentuate the calf muscles or the hips or the ass. That's why you see girls with no ass doing that little knee bend stands, and then they kind of turn to the side to like poke their ass out. But if they just sat flat-feeted, they would look like a fucking ironing board. So there's that aspect to it, that fashion itself has a certain department of fashion. The whole goal is to accentuate or bring attention to certain parts of the body, and normally those parts of the body are sexual organs or what do they call it? Erogenous zones, like the titties, or the dick, or the ass, or something like that. So that part. But that's what high heels do. There's no reason to have high heels, right? But it comes from a tradition of women either actively doing it or just as a sexual preference from men, fucking with their feet, right? So in China, they used to do the bonded feet. They used to break the foot, bind it, and do all kinds of wild shit to it. And so you have these women walking around on feet like this fucking big or something like that, because they would break their feet. And then you have things like high heels, which were like there's no anatomical, like there's nothing about a high heel shoe that gives you any type of like advantage, right? It's actually a disadvantage, but it's purely for the aesthetic of articulating and distorting and contouring the foot. But it also has effects throughout the rest of the body. And what's the other one? Like, and there's some shit that used to be but isn't anymore. Like how the West uses like red lipstick to bring attention to the lips, to suck dick, basically. In Japan, at one point, they used to blacken the women's teeth. So you have pictures or drawings of like traditional Japanese women, or just in general. At one point in time, they used to blacken their teeth. So they would smile and it would just be like all fucking black, right? Which feels, Japan at one point was very tribal, in the sense that, you know, it was very much like how we would look at, I mean, it's still the same. Like motherfuckers, when you're basically painting your face, like lipstick, all that shit, you're basically just painting your face. So those traditions of painting the face, accentuating certain features, actively kind of fucking with the body to make this more pronounced, to make this more hidden, to make this more flat, to make this more whatever the fuck, at the end of the day has the denotation and the connotation of sex being attached to it. That's all. To make you want to fuck me now, right? I work out, right? Get big muscles, which are meaningless, right? It's actually bad for you to have like big ass muscles. Like that shit's not, it doesn't give you an advantage. It actually shortens your life, fucks your kidneys and livers and shit up to try and get to do that. You can be strong and get swole, but getting swole, that shit's not like, it's not giving you that. You're not going to live longer because you're fucking swole, right? So men who do that shit, they will fuck themselves up for the sake of trying to look sexy, you know? I don't fucking know. You built back like you ain't swole. I'm not swole. I was trying to get swole, and that's how I learned that shit was like, yeah, you know, this shit is actually bad for you in the long term. The shit's is one thing to have healthy organs. It don't mean shit to have healthy muscles, my nigga. Like that don't mean shit. Like it helps. It helps to have some muscles for sure, because you do need the strength that comes with that. But at the same time, too, having big ass, huge biceps and shit like that, like you know, like take somebody like the brother T.C. Fletcher, right? C.T. Fletcher, who I love to death. T.C. Fletcher's swole as fuck, right? But that dude has had, I think, 2 heart surgeries or a heart transplant or some shit like that. Like, fuck, man. Yeah, what? Even thinking, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was cock diesel, swole in a bitch, but was having all kinds of heart transplants and surgeries and shit. And it's like, yeah. Nah, what's up, Bun? Papa Bun? Hope everything's well. Nah, that get swole shit is some. It's a gift and a curse. You fuck your back up trying to get swole. Now you swole as shit but can't walk. In pain for the rest of your life. You know, be very careful. My muscles. It's funny. Muscle helps with insulin resistance, though. Yeah, everybody has muscle. We talking about getting swole, okay? Swole, my G. And it's like, what's the point of having all this insulin resistance, but your kidneys are fucking blown out, right? Or you threw your fucking back out. So it's like, yeah, I ain't got diabetes, but it hurts every time I sit or stand. It's like, just go and give me the diabetes. My back gonna be straight though. Diabetes in my back. Fuck, man. Fuck. Give me the back. But yeah, you do need. I'm not saying that you're never not gonna not have muscles, my G. But it becomes like motherfuckers who gets like jacked and swole. Like it's a lot to maintain that. Right. Why did this dude have a fucking swastika? I didn't even notice that shit. Like, long live Germany, Nazi. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just noticing that shit. I'm like, does this motherfucker have a swastika on his fucking shit? Like, what? We gotta remove you from the live, homie. You out here extra wilding. What the fuck? I was reading, I was like, yeah, man, you know, get swollen. I looked at his icon, I was like, what the, like, nigga, are you a Nazi? Are you a fucking Nazi, my man? It'd fuck me up, though, if he'd have said, no, I'm Buddhist. I'm like, oh, okay. But you got Nazi Germany in your fucking name, right? He's like, yes, you're right. I'm a Nazi. Like, I'm a nationalist socialist. What's the relationship of swastikas in Japanese, Buddhism, and Shinto? I don't know if swastikas are a part of the Shinto tradition, but they're definitely part of the Buddhist tradition. And I think maybe the Hindu tradition as well. But also some American Indian tribes. The swastika is an old kind of universally used icon and symbol that has various meanings depending on how it was developed and where. And the Nazis actually hijacked it, trying to connect back to some type of Aryan religion. Remember that the Germanic and the English languages all find their roots in India. So there's words in, if I'm not mistaken, in Hindu that are relative to words that are in English, German, all that shit. So the source is Hindu. So there's if you try and follow back to what is the original, Nazism was trying to give itself a spiritual validity, and they kind of reached and just kind of picked and pieced. From what I understand, they went back and just kind of cherry picked different things from different places and tried to align with them and give them a certain level of influence or power. But yeah, when I was training in I'll show you. When I was training in China, in Shaolin, where in Dafang, where Shaolin Temple is, my instructor there, he's on Beaten Path. So if you're overseas, you can check out my show Beaten Path, where I go to China and learn martial arts. My instructor, who taught me, was it 18 hand forms or eight hand forms? He gave me his prayer beads. So he's a monk. He's a Buddhist monk, and he gave me his prayer beads. He taught me how to meditate, and it has the wheel, right? The eightfold path, whatever it is, the wheel, like the Dharma wheel. But it also has right above that a swastika. See it? Oh, my bad. Also has a swastika. So on the Buddhist side of things, it's very much so a well-used symbol that got hijacked by the Nazis, and they used it as their kind of, their symbol for their purposes. Sanskrit, yeah. Sanskrit. Yeah, Buddha was an Indian, right? It's from India. So that's where all of that, Buddha was Indian. He wasn't Chinese or Japanese. He was Indian. So Siddhartha, right? So a lot of the imagery was pulled from the Hindi kind of Indian, when India was called Hindi or whatever the fuck. Swastikas are not peace, it's dharma. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it means, to be honest. Why was Buddha so fat? That's not Buddha. That fat guy isn't Buddha. That fat guy is what's his name? I think it's Lao Tzu or Budai. His name is Budai. But what do they say? Budai. Chinese. He was a Chinese monk who was venerated as a Buddha in Chan Buddhism. But that's not like Siddhartha. Siddhartha is actually very skinny. Actually, Siddhartha, my favorite Buddhist kind of representation is the emaciated Buddha, where he went and he fasted. I actually put it on Drogas Wave. To me, that's such a powerful image. This Buddha. That Buddha. That's my favorite Buddha. The ascetic Buddha, yeah. Ascetic Buddha. There's one way super ripped. Check this one out. This one's pretty cool. Swole Buddha. Well, not swole, but ain't that powerful image right there? Super good. If you look at the artwork of Droga's Wave, in the artwork of Droga's Wave, there's a collage, and I got the emaciated Buddha in there. I have to just go and give a little nod to skinny Buddha, skinny Siddhartha. I was always confused how following Asian spirituality is different than white man spirituality. I mean, what, you gonna follow African spirituality? It's the same shit. Africa's the same shit. Statues and talismans and charms and sacrifices and shit. It's the same shit. Like all those African statues, like, homie, that ain't art. That shit just not like. Even if you look at like David, nigga, that's David, right? Like David, that's like David from David and like David, my nigga, David and Goliath. All of the statues in Greece were like gods, you know. So like a lot of the things that we take as just kind of being art, and it's just white, like making some art. Like nigga, them African statues aren't art. Those are like either spirits or if not gods, and kind of just like representations of spiritual forces or something like that. They need to be appeased and catered to and blessed, and the masks and all that stuff. That's not just casual, like, let's just make a nice mask for, you know, this dance. Like, that's like that dance is a spiritual situation. Those drums, they're meant to call the spirits around. Like, they're not just doing that shit just to say it for Kwanzaa. Like, that's like real. Like, no, we have to bring the spirits into this place. When we kill this chicken, like, we really are killing this chicken to feed the god or to appease the spirits so it don't fuck us over when we build this house or do something like that. So it's the same shit. Like don't get it confused that you looking at these Buddhist statues or Jesus or ancient Greek mythology. Like, it's mythology to us, right? Because we look at that shit as like, oh, that's mythology. To them, that was the Bible. Like, no, Zeus was real, and this is how the world was created. This is how the sun works. This is how all this shit really works. And you need to appease this motherfucker. He needs a temple, and he needs sacrifices, and he needs blah, 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 blah. Because if we don't, we're fucked. We just look at it as art, as African art. Oh, this is the African culture. Like, no, bro, that's like filling your house with crucifixes. Crucifixes still carry the tradition of like